Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Footbas podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the top 5 shooting guards in the NBA as of right now. We're going to hop right into it. We're going to start off with number 5, and that is going to be Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's plays for the Washington Wizards. Personally, I think he's a point guard. I think he can be a point guard, but he's also a very good shooting guard. He's also a very good point guard. So, either way, I think he is very good. And sometimes he can be even good in the paint with floaters and maybe some hook shots. I don't know. We don't see that many hook shots in the NBA anymore, but I've seen him do that a couple times, fairly recently. Obviously he can shoot the ball well, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Last year he averaged a whopping 31.3 points per game, which is obviously a very good number. And they're going to need, and if the Washington Wizards want to make the playoffs and have a run in the playoffs, Bradley Beal's going to need to, I'm not saying he's done bad this year so far, but he hasn't done as good as last year. But I think he's one of the better shooting guards in the league. But if they want to make a contender, they want to make them a contender, Bradley Beal's going to need to step up and shoot really well. Because they started off the season really good. I think they were top 5 at one point in the league. And right now they're like middle of the pack now. I think they're around 500. That's what I really have to say about him. And also, the other shooting guard or point guard for them is Corey Kispert. And I have a lot of faith in Corey Kispert. So I think with Bradley Beal and Corey Kispert, when Corey Kispert gets more chances to play, I think they will be a very good duo. Number 4 is going to be Zach LaVine. So I have a lot to say about Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine to me is either a power forward, center, or small forward. Usually the guy's down low. I don't really call him a shooting guard. I didn't even know he was a shooting guard. I thought he was just a small power forward or something. But I learned a couple days ago that he was a center or a shooting guard actually. That was a little shocking to me, but I did read that he is knocking down some good shots, getting good rebounds per game, and he can go down low. If they have, DeMar DeRozan, obviously. I guess I do have Nikola Vucevic down low, a couple other guys. But if they have DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball in there, a couple other guys, then Zach LaVine can go down low and help Nikola Vucevic out a little bit there. But, he's obviously such a dual threat, and he has pretty good handles with the ball. I'm not saying he should be a point guard. I'm just saying he's pretty good handles to drive. Like when he gets the ball right in the corner, he can just drive in and it'll be a nice 2 points. But obviously, it's not going to happen every time. If you're playing a good defense like the Warriors or the Suns or something like that, then you're probably not going to be able to do that. But, again, if you're playing like a very weak defense like the Thunder, Magic, Pistons, any of those teams, I think you're going to be able to drive a little more than you do against the good teams like the Heat, Warriors, and stuff. Number 3 is going to be James Harden. James Harden obviously getting traded to the Nets, or not the Nets, the 76ers. He was with the Nets. I think was a good trade in Philadelphia. Obviously, Ben Simmons obviously wasn't doing anything. Obviously, I think it was just a good trade. Just get him out, get Ben Simmons out of there, and get pretty good shooting guard. The only problem I have with James Harden is obviously a lot of other people's too. He just doesn't pass the ball, and I honestly do think that is why the Nets traded him. He's a good shooter, but he doesn't pass the ball. If he's double covered and he's already picked up his dribble, he's not gonna pass the ball. He's just gonna lob it. He doesn't pass the ball. That's obviously such a hard thing to deal with when you're Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and all those other good guys that need the ball in order to be able to be good. I mean, Kevin Durant, I mean, he's a good shoot. I mean, he's good on defense. He doesn't need to have the ball. He's good, like, running around setting picks and stuff. But also, I think his prime is when he obviously, everyone's prime is when they have the ball. And James Harden just doesn't pass the ball. I personally think that's why he got traded. And if I was Joel Embiid, I'd be pretty mad because he just doesn't pass the ball at all. He's a good shooting guard, but, like, and he shoots from, like, half court with, like, 6 minutes left. I mean, that's just not good. But I do think, I mean, since he's number 3, I said a lot of good things about 4 and 5, and I say some good things about the 3rd. James Harden, I mean, he can shoot. And he also draws the foul really well. And I think those are some pluses with him. But just needs to pass the ball. I mean, he'd be so good if he passed the ball. I mean, when he was with Houston, there was the best of both worlds. But now, since he's in Philadelphia, when he was with Brooklyn, he just didn't pass the ball at all. And also, I think this next, I don't know, I mean, these next 2 episodes, last week's episode was only 7 minutes. And this week's episode probably will be around 10 minutes. And maybe, I think next week's episode will probably be on around 15 minutes, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, I don't know. Hopefully that can be a little longer because I know you guys do like I don't know if you guys like the longer podcast or the shorter podcast. Let me know in the comments. When I make ideas for the podcast, they're either super long or super short. It's hard to get like that middle 15 minutes in. But yeah, let's move on to number 2. And that is going to be Donovan Mitchell for the Utah Jazz. And just like Bradley Beal, I think and James Harden, I think he definitely can be a point guard. It's not the end of the world if you can't be a point guard. I mean, obviously he's a good shooting guard, and he can even be down low sometimes. He can be a small forward. I mean, it doesn't really matter. He can be anywhere on the court besides power forward or center. When he's on the court, he's just dominating. I mean, he can shoot very well. He can draw the foul really well. And he can drive really well, do a little floater like that. I've seen that happen. Draws the foul with the and one a lot. He can just shoot from anywhere in the court, too. He can shoot free throws. He can shoot from the corner. He can shoot from mainly anywhere. So, I mean, obviously that's a plus for the Jazz. And I think with Rudy Gobert and a couple other guys, I mean, they're just really good combinations with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and those guys like that. And I think Mike Conley, I mean, he's a good passer, Mike Conley, so I think when you give Donovan Mitchell the ball, he's going to try to drive and then maybe kick it back out to Mike Conley for an easy 3. So I think that's good. And I think what I've seen from Donovan Mitchell, he just tears up zone defenses. He's not that good against man-to-man defenses, but he just tears apart zone defenses. And I think that is a very good thing. He just needs to work on getting open in man-to-man coverage. When I play basketball, I personally have a hard time with that. I can beat zone defenses, I just can't beat man-to-man. It's hard to beat man-to-man. But especially if you are playing a team that has always done man-to-man and they all know what to do and stuff. But if they're playing zone, I mean, Donovan Mitchell is just going to shoot easy open threes like that. And he can shoot over their head pretty easily. He's got his fakes are really good, and you can fake, jump, drive in. That's a good skill he has. So yeah, that's what I got to talk about Donovan Mitchell. And number 1, I think you probably know if I haven't said it already, since I haven't said this name already. Plays for the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker. Obviously, I mean, if Chris Paul's not in, again, he can, I mean, just like James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and Bradley Beal, he can be a point guard. But also, he's just such a good shooting guard, too. I know he's injured right now, or he's not injured, he has COVID, I think, right now. But, I mean, obviously, when he does play, he's just got so much talent. I mean, step backs, so good. It's just all around so good. And when you put Chris Paul combining with him, and you got Jay Crowder, who's a good 3-point shooter and a good center, or power forward. I think it's just that team's almost unstoppable, and especially with Devin Booker just shooting the ball. I mean, again, just like Donovan Mitchell, he tears apart zone defense, but the only thing about it is that he can also tear up man to man. So I mean, you gotta find that sweet spot with him where he just can't get open, and that's very hard to do. I think only a couple teams have found that. And one of them is the Heat or something. I think the Heat have figured out how to stop him, but not a lot of teams have been able to stop him. Have been able to found a rhythm to be able to stop him, and that's obviously really good for the Suns. And I think Monty Williams obviously is just coaching him really well, getting him involved a lot, and I think that is just so good. I think the Suns I think they will make the championship. I'm not sure if they'll win, but I think they will make the championship. And I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they won the whole thing. Because last year, obviously, didn't win the championship. The Milwaukee Bucks got up 2-0 and just couldn't find a rhythm at the end. Couldn't win. Couldn't hold on to the series. But I think they will probably win this year, based on the record and based on they're probably going to be number one seed and stuff like that. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and shout out to my editor, L Studios. Have a great rest of your day, and see ya.